Hello, I'm Michael Diamond. You're watching Muscle Central. Okay, the 2020 contest season was really all in shambles with everything that was going on with this COVID virus, all the restrictions that were put in place. We had shows that never took place. We had shows that eventually took place at different dates. Uh, Different locations. Uh, New York Pro ended up in Florida, and ultimately the Olympia ended up in Florida also. Now, things aren't still quite back to normal yet, and as of now, the Arnold Classic, which is typically held in the early part of the year, is being moved to September. Now, the Mr. Olympia, which typically is being held in September, was moved to December last year. Uh, Now, it was already talk afterwards whether they're going to keep the same deadline for the Olympia in 2021 as they had in 2020. This way it gives the athletes a full year to qualify and prepare for the competition. If they would go back to September, it cuts it down to 9 months. So it was already talk about it being held in December again this year. Now, with the Arnold Classic being moved to September, uh, you're definitely not going to have the Arnold Classic and the Mr. Olympia in the same month so close to each other. It just would not work out. Uh, for various reasons, even in a fan perspective, uh, you got big bodybuilding fans that go to these big shows. They cost money. Uh, it's one thing if you spend that large amount of money at one part of the year, then you have a little time to get your money together, get together again, and then you spend a little later on in the year a larger sum of money to go to the other big event. But when you have these two events so close to each other, that's financially tough for the hardcore fan that would typically go to both shows. I don't think it's fair for the athletes. So, it does make sense to have the Mr. Olympia again in December. Like I said, the Arnold Classic was already moved to September, and we don't know what's going on with other shows yet. So far, some shows have been scheduled already for like the middle part of the year, and if everything goes as planned, they should go off without a hitch. But we still don't know exactly where we stand with all this, with all these regulations that are still in place. Keeping another thing about it, keeping the Olympia in December now would be if issues arise and these promoters have to start doing some juggling again, change dates, even change locations from where they would typically hold their show. And let's take all the stuff out of the equation. Uh, I forget. I'm not sure. I think typically uh, is the Tampa Pro. It might be the Tampa Pro that's typically would be the last qualifier for that year's Olympia. Anything after that qualifies for the following year. And you still had a couple of shows that went on between that last pro qualifier, not pro qualifier, that last Olympia qualifier and the Olympia. So if you keep the Olympia in December, you can make those few shows that typically fell between the last Olympia qualifier for that season and the Olympia. You can make those shows Olympia qualifiers also for that year, not the following year. And we also had, after the Olympia, I believe it was usually held in October or maybe early November. I don't remember. The Romania Pro, which is also an Olympia qualifier, but for the following for the next coming Olympia, obviously, yeah, just past the Olympia when that would normally take place. So now the Romania Pro could also be an Olympia qualifier for the year that you actually qualified for the Olympia in. I think it would not be a bad idea to keep the Olympia at the end of the year. At times it wasn't always September. Also, there was a couple times it actually fell in October. It was a few occasions, but I personally think that after all this shit transpired last year, and we ended up having to move it to the end of the year, it to me it looks like it might be a better time to actually hold the Olympia. Uh, I don't know. That's just my opinion on it. One last thing. Uh, some people might say, well, it's not good. Might not be good for the competitors because Thanksgiving is a few weeks before that, and these guys are dieting for shows, and Thanksgiving is a big family thing, and it shouldn't be deprived of enjoying the time with the family. Well, if bodybuilding is your business, is your means of supporting yourself, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. I mean, it doesn't mean you have to not spend time with the family. I know bodybuilders that have competed in shows. We're not talking about the Olympia, but had competitions uh, within a close time frame after Thanksgiving, and they were so focused on what they were doing, they still spent time with their family. They bring their own food that they use for dieting to the family gathering. That's always an alternative. And you know what? Realistically, it would be 3 to 4 weeks prior to the competition. Athletes typically have scheduled cheat days, and if you really want to get down to it, as you can enjoy Thanksgiving dinner and not be cheating big time. Uh, Skip the desserts, but turkey is a Thanksgiving staple. Excellent source of protein. A lot of bodybuilders use turkey in their diet. Uh, Sweet potato. Sweet potato is another staple at Thanksgiving. It's a common food used in bodybuilding diets. Uh, Most Thanksgiving meals will be serving a variety of vegetables. Uh, I'm sure there's some good choices there you can make. So you can actually enjoy a lot of the food without actually cheating. Because a lot of the staples for the holiday would be considered bodybuilding foods. It's to close this video. I got a little drifted off a little bit. To end this video, I think it's a good idea to have the Mr. Olympia at the end of the year, make that the new timeline for the Olympia. And you know what? Florida's not a bad location. You don't have to have it in Las Vegas every year, and they used to have it all over the place. You have it in New York, you had it in Helsinki, you had it in Australia. You can also change the location, make the new home Florida, or go the other route and make it worldwide. Go from one location to the next, year to year. All right, that's just my opinion on things. You might agree or disagree with the things I've said. Either way, let me know in the comment section. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Please share, and by all means subscribe. Do not forget to hit that notification bell. This way, every time I put up a new video, you will be notified. Once again, this is Michael Diamond, and I'd like to thank you for watching Muscle Central.